This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLesio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, another Farm Monitor off and running without Kenny B. He is out again this week, but he is back in the saddle with me next week. His absence, however, the only change in format. Still got a great show for you. Coming up, 2 words a pecan producer never wants to hear: SCAB disease. John Holcomb investigates the issue and reports on the latest advancements to combat the problem. Also on the show, he's a former politician and she's a former school teacher. Now retired, this Carroll County couple is giving back through their family farm that has quite the backstory. And then later, while research of production hemp and its popularity continues to grow here in Georgia, this Albany farmer says he may have found the key to be successful at it. These stories and so much more start right now on the Farm Monitor. With the country slowly coming out of the pandemic, prices for several of Georgia's top commodities have steadily been on the rise. So what does that mean for the farmer's bottom line? And more importantly, will that trend continue? Damon Jones spoke with one UGA economist in Clark County and gives you a future outlook.
With the trade wars and a global pandemic to deal with over the past year, there's been plenty of ups and downs on the commodity markets. However, things appear to now be on the upswing as demand for agricultural products worldwide are on the rise.
Commodity prices are up across the board. We see increased, especially for hogs. We also see increases in the price of feed, so corn and soybeans, and then soybean derivatives like soybean oil and soybean meal. We see increases in the price of wheat, and also non-agricultural commodities like crude oil and gasoline.
And one commodity in particular is reaping the benefits as sales are way up both internationally and domestically.
The demand for pork has increased because we have increased demand in China and Mexico as the economy heats up after the pandemic, as we slowly come out of the pandemic. But we also see the demand for pork increasing in the U.S. because I think a lot of firms are getting used to the idea of keeping their employees at home to telework. And if you're at home and you're teleworking, you want to have a hot breakfast, and part of the hot breakfast includes bacon. And so we see a rising demand for pork.
Despite the higher market prices, consumers are unlikely to see a significant change in prices at the grocery store, as that accounts for just a small percentage of what the shoppers pay for.
Less than 15% of retail food prices are actually driven by commodity prices. And so 85%, the bulk of the price that we pay at the grocery store, is due to processing and packaging and transportation and advertising.
While the short-term price spike has been a welcome sight for producers, it's a trend that is likely to level off later in the year as more supply becomes available on the marketplace.
If I'm thinking about forecasted prices, I think a good place to look generally is the futures markets, which are a great aggregator of expectations about supply and demand fundamentals. And if we look at the futures markets, we tend to see that in the short run for the old crop, prices are high. Right, so there's going to be a harvest in the fall, and that's going to increase supplies and reduce prices, demand held constant. High prices are a great signal to producers and to the economy in general to kind of do more of that thing. So we should expect supplies to increase in the long run and prices to moderate, which is why I think the futures markets are predicting prices to fall.
That doesn't mean farmers shouldn't be encouraged about the future, as there are a number of programs they can take advantage of to maximize their bottom line.
So if a producer looks at the futures price and sees it as something that they would be happy to kind of take for their product, it's a good idea to try to lock that price in using risk management techniques like forward contracting, or actually engaging in futures and options transactions themselves. So if you can lock in the price, do it. The other thing to keep in mind is that interest rates are very low right now. And so if you can borrow money and increase your production, that may be beneficial to you in the long run if prices actually end up staying high.
Reporting from Clark County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, Georgia Ag Commissioner Gary Black. He, of course, has announced plans to run for the U.S. Senate seat currently occupied by Raphael Warnock. With less than a year to go until the primaries, Commissioner Black telling the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, quote, "I've got the leadership experience, the track record, and the background handling a wide range of duties to be a United States Senator." He added, "The people of Georgia have been kind enough to hire me before, and I believe they'll hire me again for a different job," end quote. Meantime, Georgia pecans, huge part of our ag economy, and that's why so many people work around the clock to keep it that way. John Holcomb explains how research is keeping the industry successful both now and well into the future.
Farming is a business, and just like any business, at the end of the day, producers need more money to come in than come out in order to survive, which is why research orchards being done by UGA pecan agents are so important. This orchard, which was planted earlier this spring, is looking to help producers' bottom line by primarily looking to see which varieties are more resistant to scab disease, a huge issue for pecan producers and their bottom line.
Treating for scab disease in pecan is costly to growers. It's about 12% of our entire variable production budget that goes into managing the trees for a season. And the trees that are here in this orchard, the ones that Dr. Wells is looking at in Tifton, they've been planted since 2008 and they've never been sprayed with a fungicide at all. And they're not showing any signs of scab.
The reason that's so significant is because pecan producers really only have a couple of options out there to choose from. Varieties that take little to maintain or varieties that take a lot.
We're basically looking at two different options. One is a high intensity, high input. And what that is there's newer cultivars that are very susceptible to scab, but the nuts are large nut, thin shell, exactly what the export market wants. The other option to the way we're moving into industry in Georgia is low input, more conventional type planting, and these trees that have no known scab on them so far. And some of them have been out for a while. Some of them have been around for a long time. Some of them have been around for a short time. And a very reduced input. So just a handful, maybe 3 fungicide sprays at the most.
Ultimately, it will take a few years until they get data, but they're expecting promising results that will help producers, especially those in the southeast part of the state, since the orchard is more in line with how they operate and how they're set up.
On the east side of the state, we're not as much set up right now to do the high input, high intensity orchard management. We're more set up for the low input. So what this orchard does is it brings these low inputs to this side of the state so we could look at them right here. These same varieties have been producing at the Tifton farm and the Ponder farm in Tifton. And comparing the same price on these high input varieties with the 12 or so sprays of fungicide, and then comparing the price of these low input varieties, which their price sometimes a little bit less, but no fungicide sprays at all, their net return is been higher these past few years. And a lot of that, again, is because of our suppressed price. So the heavy amount of fungicides we're using for it is starting to add up.
Reporting in Vidalia for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Moving on to downtown Atlanta and the new Capitol Museum exhibit, which pays tribute to Georgia agriculture, while at the same time educating the public about the state's #1 industry. From your farm to your table was the vision of Georgia State Senator Valencia C., who in 2014 introduced Senate Bill 274 in hopes of providing Georgians a chance to better understand the impact agribusiness has on the state's economy and culture.
As you can see, I am so excited. 7 is completion. It took us 7 years to finally get it completed, but I would say it's worth the wait. I am just so honored that former Senator Bullock, who was chair of agriculture, co-signed it with me, and we were able to get it passed out of the legislature.
All right, from politicians of the present to politicians of the past. After the break, how this former mayor of Villa Rica, Georgia, gave up life as a retiree and is now giving back to help educate the younger generations about the gift that keeps on giving, that, of course, being agriculture. Stay tuned. After a long, successful career in Parks and Recreation, followed by one term as mayor of Villa Rica, Georgia, Jeff Reese traded in his keys to the city and replaced them with keys to an RV. Yes, Jeff and his wife Teresa had it all planned out. Travel the country, enjoy retirement, and leave the pressures of the world behind them. However, during one of those early getaways, a crazy thing happened. And as a result, Jeff and Teresa are not only opening the doors to that RV, they are also opening their doors to the public as one of the newest members of the Georgia Farm Bureau Certified Farm Market Program. Not to brag or boast, but this here is yet another example of how the GFB Certified Farm Market Program is impacting agritourism in Georgia. For Jeff and Teresa Reese, what did it for them was the many farm stops they made in the RV. And like that RV, Jeff's wheels are always turning.
I said, you know, this is great. And coming from my marketing background in recreation, I'm like, wow, this was a great idea somebody had to put all this together to promote agritourism. And so that sort of got me thinking, and we were kind of toying with an idea of having a farm out here in Temple. And we have the place, we have everything's here. And so I started talking to Teresa, and again, another conversation ensued. Come to find out, her family, her great-grandfather bought this in 1921.
I look around the farm and I see just fond memories of being in the strawberry field or picking beans. I can remember in front of the old oak tree, my grandparents would give us a little dish towel and a quart jar. And when it was time to do the beans, shell those beans, if you fill the quart jar, you get a quarter. Well, you know what? Back then, a quarter would buy a lot of stuff. So, you know, I just want my children and their children and the next generations on to just truly to learn to appreciate what we have here.
And what the Reeses have is a golden opportunity, a chance to make a difference, educate people about the food they eat and where it comes from. People like Jeff, who admits there was a time when he himself took for granted where vegetables came from. This despite having an aunt who owned a huge farm in Cumming, Georgia. Couple that with his appreciation for history, and you understand why Jeff is determined to make Fairview Market at Holloman Farms a success.
It just occurred to both of us that there was a part of our culture as Americans that was missing for future generations. And so we really started this as a way to give back what we had come up with, because she was raised on a farm. This was a working farm, like I said, since 1921. She remembers her grandfather raising hogs here and chickens and, you know, fields of corn, and just, you know, for as far as the eye could see, you would see different fields. And the Hollomans still own this property. So it makes it very important to me from a history standpoint to keep that tradition going.
It's hard work. It is hard work, and I have such a greater respect to my grandparents, not even realizing as a child what they were really doing. It's a multifaceted thing. I mean, they worked a 9-to-5 job. They ran this farm, but yet they fed the family and the community, and they loved every moment of it. So, you know, it's work. It's really work. But it's like I told Jeff, one thing's for certain, we don't have to buy into a local gym or anything like that, because I have found that there are muscles in my body that are just aching at the end of the day because they haven't been used, from even in the classroom and everything.
The classroom Teresa's referring to? The one she occupied during her 20 years as a teacher. Kindergarten mostly. And you know what they say, Once a teacher, always a teacher.
I've got a gamut of stuff, boxes of stuff in the carriage house from my classroom, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I would love to bring a lot of stuff out and, you know, build some things and let the kids have an opportunity to experience getting their hands in some dirt and planting some seeds and letting them carry it home with them and watching that process.
She can make you understand that there's a bigger plan here, that it's not just about a can of corn, that it's about growing that corn. It's about being a part of nature. It's about understanding that bees have a purpose in life, that butterflies, that bumblebees, that everything in God's creation has a purpose and everything works together. And she is that person. So I am so excited. I can't wait to get started on our little outdoor classroom.
Great people, aren't they? Coming up, carrying on a family tradition that dates back over 70 years, how Jackson Farms in Floyd County is sharing the importance of producing healthy, sustainable, nutritious beef. Again, that's next.
There's beef raised in every county of the 159 counties in Georgia. Every single one of them has beef producers in it. What that means to me is just every county has somebody who cares about the land, cares about producing beef sustainably.
We're Jackson Farms. We're here in Cave Spring, Georgia, which is right on the Alabama line in northwest Georgia. We're raising beef cattle on a cow-calf operation with my husband, Cleve, and my father-in-law, Charles.
We raise beef cattle because it fits more with the environment, with the land. That's the main focus of our operation and has been ever since we started.
We care deeply about the cattle. We care about the environment. We care about doing what's right each and every day and producing cattle sustainably and efficiently and effectively.
All three of us are constantly learning, whether that is new technologies or new science that we're bringing in to be able to make sure that those animals are being raised like they should. As farmers, we're focused on the animal's welfare and its ability to be able to grow into something that we can be proud of as Jackson Farms. People should feel good about eating beef because of the way the cattle take care of the land. They're able to eat feedstuffs that we can't utilize in our digestive system, so that they're able to convert that to a protein, which we're able to enjoy, and it's able to add nutrition to all of our plates in a very sustainable way.
We're proud of what we do. We want to be transparent. We want to invite the consumer to be a part of what we're doing here on the farm, to see how we care for the land and for the cattle, and to help them have peace of mind about choosing our product.
I want people to know that we eat the beef that we raise. We know that it's going to be a product that we can be not only proud of to serve others, but also we know that it's a safe product to be able to eat as a family ourselves.
It brings nourishment to me to know that each and every day people eat because of what we do here on the farm.
Finally this week, year 2 of production hemp is now underway here in Georgia. In fact, many producers probably out there in the fields now planting as we speak. No doubt, one of those producers is Cedric Rowe, who we first profiled back in January. According to the Albany Herald, Rowe was one of the state's first black South Georgia farmers licensed to grow hemp. News of his success quickly made the rounds. Walking through his field along Georgia 300, Cedric Rowe is already thinking ahead to his next crop. Sure, a lot of work must be done before harvest, but if year 2 is anything like year 1 of his hemp operation, then Cedric is all in. Although he will be the first to tell you, like with any other type of farming, he did have his share of challenges along the way.
But the obstacles was basically the plant variety, with us being in South Georgia, Georgia period, we was basically having to grow varieties grown in plants grown in other states if you was planting by transplants, seeds also. So the challenging part was basically trying to figure out the common diseases that may come on the plant or different pests that may, you may see, and just the whole beginning stage of it was kind of challenging. You still have to do the common things that when it comes to a commodity crop, observing the crop every day. Only difference is more intense labor, controlling the weeds. That's the big challenge also. Knowing what different types of herbicides to use that that's available to use on this crop. It's a new crop. It's still a lot of research done on it. Still a lot of research needs to be done on it, but for the most part, it's about the same. I say it's about the same with me being a peanut grower also. I can see the common, time it takes to put into the crop and get it ready.
With all that said, it still begs the question, given all the unknowns about hemp and the limited research regarding its ability to succeed here in Georgia, why take the risk right out of the gate? Why not wait until more is known about the crop? Well, for Cedric, a graduate of Fort Valley State, it basically boiled down to two things. A, it was something he was already familiar with, and B, opportunity.
What really caught my attention was how much money you can make per acre. Also, it was a new crop, so it was a new opportunity for me to get into something where it was less competition. Something that I kind of understood just because of my knowledge on it from Fort Valley. So, working at a university and going to school at a university, I got a chance to, work around similar plants leading up to, the legalization of hemp. So it's like I was kind of preparing myself for it. But like I say, what really got me into it was a new crop.
As far as his net profit in year one, that's something Cedric and I did not discuss during our conversation. However, he did tell me that once everything was harvested, his total pull was about 600 pounds per acre. Multiply that by 5 acres, which at the time was the size of his operation, and overall Cedric was pretty pleased, both with the quality and overall abundance. However, once the harvest process was complete, then came phase 2 of charting those unfamiliar waters, so to speak.
Just the challenges that I had to face just to get it out the ground and get it to the process of not knowing, being the first time, understanding how to transport it. It was just a lot of stuff it was a lot of unknown. So each step of the growth was a new phase, new chapter for not only me, but for the state, as far as how they monitor it and what regulations to, look for and abide by.
But a successful first crop resulted in Cedric having yet another hurdle to overcome, his newfound fame. You see, once word of his operation got around, Cedric says he was flooded with phone calls and emails from people wanting more information. That's when he came up with the plan to host a hemp clinic. Capped at 75 people, it sold out in a matter of hours.
I'm shocked that it kind of got out there like that, but part of me, I'm kind of glad. Now I get opportunity to basically, to put my knowledge and all the stuff that I know how to do and been doing, put it on a good platform to be able to show people and also teach people how to grow it. Just getting that pressure and seeing people, seeing a lot of people that's into it is kind of like shocking, really. So I'm willing to, do my part and continue to, show people how to grow successful hemp.
And we certainly wish him the best of luck in year 2 of his operation. Unfortunately, we are out of time. As mentioned, Kenny be with me next week. Until then, be safe, stay healthy. Thanks so much for checking out the Farm Monitor. Have a great week, everybody.